Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to this episode where we go deep with our brother into his life as an occult member. The things that led him into making such a decision to join. And what were the sacrifices he was made to do, which had haunted him for the rest of his life. If you are new here, this is Dangerous African Confessions HD, where we bring to you confession stories to help you make your own informed decisions about your walk with God and life in general. Without taking much of your time, let us go and listen to the story. Please subscribe if you haven't done so, and also do like and share this video, so others out there can also benefit from this conversation, and hit the notification bell as well, so you will be notified anytime we upload videos.
I don't know why I'm here right now, talking to you. Maybe I'm hoping you can learn from my mistakes. Maybe, just maybe, I want someone to hear my confession so that what happened to me doesn't happen to anyone else. I should have never gotten into all this madness, but now it's too late. Everything's gone. And it's all my fault. My name is Chijioke, but you can call me Chi, that's what they all call me. I come from a village, small, dusty. Everybody knew each other. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have much growing up. My mama, she was everything to me. She worked hard, trying to feed me, trying to make sure I went to school, though she barely had enough for herself. I wasn't like those rich boys who wore nice shoes and had food to eat every day. No. I was the one with torn clothes, barefoot, no proper meal for days. I remember those times. The shame, the hunger. And every time I tried to change things, nothing worked. To really get deeply into all this, I would say that I was just a boy when I first noticed the world treated me differently. I'd walk into town, and people would look at me, and I could feel their eyes on me like I was nothing. Some would laugh behind my back. Some would just ignore me. Every day was a reminder of how small I was in this world. My mama, she tried. Every day, she worked the land, she did what she could. But it wasn't enough. I couldn't keep up in school. And so, I would go to the market with mama, asking around for something, but they'd just shake their heads, say there was no space for someone like me. It hurt, you know? Seeing my mama work so hard and still not have enough to feed us both. The guilt, man. It ate me up. I kept asking myself, why am I even here? Why was I born to suffer like this? You see, I know what you're thinking, why didn't you just work harder? Why not just keep pushing? But let me tell you something. Sometimes life pushes you so hard, it makes you believe that the only way out is to make a deal with the devil. And I made that deal. That is the very thing I want to talk to you about so that my fellow brothers and sisters out there might learn one or two from me. I know my fate, and I have seen it all. I just don't want you to repeat the same mistakes I made. You see, the thing about poverty is that it don't just break you financially. No, it breaks you in ways you can't even explain. It breaks your spirit, it breaks your heart, and it breaks your hope. No matter how hard I worked, no matter how much I tried to learn, there was always something missing. The doors kept slamming in my face. I couldn't get a job, I couldn't get an education, hell, I couldn't even get respect. And that's what kills you. It's not just the hunger or the cold. It's the way the world looks at you, like you ain't worth a damn. People see you and they know you don't have anything, so they treat you like nothing. The thing about poverty is that it doesn't just make you poor on the outside. It starts to make you poor on the inside too. It eats away at your dignity, it eats away at your dreams. You start to think you ain't worth nothing. And that's the real danger. That's when you stop believing that things can ever get better. I knew my mama, she knew too. She was tired of struggling. Every time I saw that woman bend her back to work, I felt like I was dying inside. 'Cause no matter how hard she worked, it didn't get easier. We'd go to bed hungry some nights, wake up to the same old empty cupboards. I tried to talk to her about it several times. With promises of making it so she won't need to be doing all that. And she'd smile, like she always did, and say, she knows we'll find a way. But inside, I could see the worry in her eyes. She was tired. She was so tired. And that's when something in me snapped. I looked at her, and I thought, I can't keep watching her suffer. I can't keep living like this. I won't. But I didn't know how. I didn't know where to turn. I couldn't stand the thought of her working herself to death for nothing. She deserved better. She deserved to rest, to be happy, to have what she needed without struggling. And that desire to see her smile again, to see her live without worry, that hunger for change became my obsession. I remember sitting alone some nights, thinking, I'd do anything to change things. I'd do anything to make sure we never had to feel this way again. I'd work harder, I'd sacrifice, but deep down, I knew I didn't have enough. There had to be something else. Something more. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get worse, that's when I met him. The man who promised me everything I'd been wanting. You know, life has a funny way of bringing people back into your life when you least expect it. And when it does, you better watch out. It started when I ran into Chuka. He was an old schoolmate of mine. We used to go to school together back in the village before everything fell apart. He was the one with the shiny shoes, the one who never had to worry about where his next meal would come from. I always envied him, but we were friends, so it didn't matter much. Chuka was a good guy, you know. He wasn't one of those rich kids who looked down on others. He talked to me like I wasn't less than him, even though we both knew the truth. I didn't have what he had. But life changes, and after I dropped out of school, we lost touch. I thought about him a lot, but life had its own plans. And I just kept sinking deeper. So, when I saw him, I couldn't believe it at first. He looked different. Not the same small-town boy I remembered. He was driving a big car, wearing a suit, just looking like he had it all together. He stopped and waved at me like he hadn't seen me in years. I stood there, for a moment, just staring at him. He called out, like nothing had changed. And when I got closer, he looked me up and down, and I saw that familiar look in his eyes, pity. But then he smiled and asked, "How have you been, my brother?" You see, I wanted to tell him the truth. To tell him I was dying inside. That I couldn't make it anymore. But I didn't. Instead, I gave him a fake smile and said, I was doing okay. Just trying to get by. But Chuka, he could see through the lie. He could see the pain behind my eyes. He looked at me for a long time, like he was trying to figure me out, and then he asked, "Chi, what happened to you? You were one of the brightest in school. You had potential. Where did it all go?" That question hit me like a punch in the chest. Tears drowned my eyes. What happened to me? I thought. It was as if I had been blind to it all along. My life had turned into a never-ending struggle, and I had no answers to give. He didn't judge me. He didn't laugh at me. He just listened. And that was when it happened. I mean, he looked me in the eye and said, "You know, I could help you, I could show you a way to turn things around." The truth of the matter is that, at that moment, I didn't care how. I didn't care about the details. All I could think about was that someone finally saw me. Someone finally believed in me. I was tired of living in darkness, tired of crawling on my hands and knees. I didn't care how Chuka had gotten so successful. I just knew he had a way out, and if he was offering it to me, I was going to take it. To be very honest, I didn't know then, but that was the first step toward my downfall. Chuka took me under his wing, like I was his little brother. He invited me over to his house, a big, beautiful house with all the things I'd only seen in movies. A house so big, I felt like I was walking into a dream. He told me that he had connections, people who could help me get started in business. He said he knew the right people, the ones who could show me the ropes, and all I needed to do was work hard and follow the right path. For the first time in my life, I started to believe that maybe, just maybe, I had a shot at changing everything. Chuka started bringing me into his circle. I'd meet with his associates, attend meetings, and hear about deals I could never have imagined. The money was flowing, and I could see it. I could taste it. But there was something different about Chuka now. He wasn't the same guy from school. He wasn't the boy who had to fight to get by. No, this man was powerful. I could see it in the way he spoke, in the way people respected him. It was like he had a magic touch. Everyone listened when he talked. But I didn't question it. I just wanted a piece of that life. My brother, one day, after we'd gone over a big deal he was working on, Chuka took me aside. He looked at me with that same sharp, calculating gaze and said, "Chi, there's something I need to show you. Something that could change your life completely." I had no idea what he meant. But whatever it was, I was ready. I thought he was going to teach me some business secret, a strategy, something that would make me money. But what he said next, it wasn't anything I could have prepared for. He leaned in close, almost like he was telling me a secret, and said, "There's a way to get everything you've ever wanted. Power, wealth, influence, but it requires something more than just hard work. It requires commitment. It requires a sacrifice." My heart skipped a beat. What was he talking about? Sacrifice. He saw the confusion on my face and chuckled softly. "Don't worry, Chi, I'm not talking about what you think. I'm talking about something that's going to elevate you beyond anything you've ever imagined." He smiled, and I could see it in his eyes. He had something dark, something hidden in the depths of his soul. But I didn't care. I didn't stop to think about it. I was desperate. I needed this chance, and I was willing to do anything to get it. That was when he told me that all that he wanted was for me to trust him. Just like he trusts me. And in that moment, I made my choice. I trusted him. So, my brother, that was the first step in me getting into this world of the unknown. Chuka began to take me deeper into his world. He introduced me to his mentors, a group of people who lived in the shadows, who had power, wealth, and influence, but who were never seen by the world. They didn't do business like everyone else. No, they had a different way. I will explain their ways. But let me move slowly to it. It was through them that I was introduced to the occult. They promised me everything I had ever dreamed of: fortune, success, and a life without struggle. But the price was steep. They told me it wasn't just about being smart or working hard. It was about power. Real power. And to get that power, I needed to make an offering. This is what people do not get it. Almost anyone who has been initiated one way or the other into any group or any dark power, this is where they trick you. They tell you things and they leave the most important aspect of it. So that when you finally commit, they will now bring it up. At that time, there will be no turning back for you. You see, they didn't tell me exactly what that meant at first. But they said, "You know when the time comes." And I thought, what's the harm? They were getting everything they wanted. Maybe I could do the same. Maybe this was just the way the world worked. Brother, the first time they took me to the place, it felt like I was walking into another world. A world where time didn't exist, where people didn't age, where nothing seemed real. I still remember the smell, like incense, herbs, and something I can't describe, something dark. It was heavy in the air, thick enough to swallow you whole. Chuka had prepared me. He told me to leave my doubts at the door, that if I was serious about this, I had to commit completely. He kept telling me that great things come at a cost. He kept saying that I have to trust in the process. And so, I did. We arrived at this compound in the middle of nowhere. It was like a mansion, but not the kind you'd see in the city. This one was tucked away, hidden behind tall iron gates, surrounded by trees so thick you couldn't see a thing past the walls. The place had an eerie quietness to it, like the silence itself was holding some dark secret. Inside, there were people. People who looked so ordinary, yet there was something about them. Their eyes, their mannerisms. They were all different. I remember one woman, dressed in black, with a sharp look in her eyes. She stared at me like she was trying to read my soul. And I felt it. I felt like they all knew something I didn't. So, Chuka introduced me to their leader, an older man with a deep voice, like it could echo in your mind. He smiled at me, a kind of knowing smile, like he had seen the depth of my soul. And when he spoke, it was like hearing the voice of authority itself. He told me that I have made the right choice. He again said that I was there for power, and that I was seeking for wealth. He then went to stress that what I was seeking, it comes with a price. So, he asked if I was ready to pay it. The truth is that I nodded without thinking. I wasn't sure what he meant, but I was too desperate. I needed this. I needed a way out. I didn't care what the cost was anymore. And that was the beginning. They told me that in order to get what I wanted, I had to open myself up. That was the first step. They said I needed to understand that the world wasn't just physical, that there were things beyond our senses. Things that controlled everything.
Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload. I want to talk about something that's often overlooked but very important. What you just heard is the painful reality of a man who, driven by desperation and the promise of wealth, made choices that ultimately cost him the most precious thing he had. His journey, though filled with temptation and darkness, serves as a powerful reminder that the choices we make today can have far-reaching consequences, ones we may never fully understand until it's too late. In life, we all face challenges. It's easy to feel like we need something extraordinary to escape our struggles, be it fame, money, or success. But remember, those things come at a cost. And sometimes, the cost is more than we can bear. It's crucial to understand that no amount of wealth, no amount of power, is worth sacrificing the people we love or compromising our morals. You see, this story isn't just about the supernatural or the occult. It's about the very human struggles we face: poverty, despair, the desire to make things right for ourselves and our families. But be cautious. Always weigh the consequences of your decisions, because every choice, no matter how small it may seem, can take you down a path you may not be able to turn back from. So, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling desperate, remember, there are always better ways to move forward. Don't let your circumstances define your choices. Stay true to yourself. And never forget the people who love you, because they are the real treasures you can never replace. Let's focus on the moral and emotional lesson learned in order to make thoughtful, ethical decisions in our own lives. The truth is, there are always better paths to take, even in difficult times. Don't fall for flashy promises or emotional manipulation. Remember, God's miracles are real, but they come with truth, love, and peace. Don't let anyone lead you astray for their own gain. Stay grounded, stay prayerful, and stay vigilant. I hope this message encourages you to be discerning in your journey in life. Thank you for watching, and remember, life is too short to make choices you regret forever. We shall meet again in the next video.